Let's start the class. Last class we have stopped up to the pre-1991 industrial policies impact on our economy. Okay, so that's the last thing what we have covered in our previous class. Let's start from where we left in our previous class. Okay, as usual, a minute recap. So today I think anyway, hopefully we'll be finishing industries. So at the end we'll be having the complete recap. So let me do a minute recap, okay. So till now what are the things we have covered means, we have learnt about the industrial policies of our economy. So we learnt about all the industrial policies, okay. Starting from 1948 up to 1991, then we learnt about 2017, then we learnt about Atmanirbhar Bharat impact on the industrial economy. Then we learnt about how the industrial policies which were framed before 1991, how they made the impact on our economy. We learned about the positives and minus. Okay, with that we have stopped our previous class. Okay, if I'm right, okay, we can proceed. If I'm wrong, means you kindly send messages. Okay, so I think that's the portion. The last segment we have covered. Okay, so kindly anyone guide me. So if I'm right, okay, means kindly send the message yes, so you'll understand. Yes, fine, okay. Thank you, Ashwin. Okay, so thank you. Yes, Vinisha, thank you. Yes, okay. Negative impact was the last. Okay, Jaydev, okay, everyone. Chandramohan, okay. Yes, fine. Okay, let's start from the next. So we have covered up to this. The negative impacts. Okay, so we have done up to this, okay. We have done up to this. Now let's start from this slide, okay. Kindly write the heading. The name of the topic is improper jump, or else we call it by the other name called as premature deindustrialization. It's a very important topic, students, actually for the mains angle. Very often the questions are asked from this area. And then even in interview, you should have some perspective about this segment, okay. And then sometimes, rarely, question may be asked in the prelims examination, okay. So what we are going to learn means, as I told you in the previous class, we are learning about the impact of the industrial policies framed between 1948 to 1991. This we have done, okay. We learned about the plus and minus. Then after 1991, what is the impact means? Because of the industrial policies, what we framed after 1991, we were having a sort of imbalance in our economy, okay. What was the imbalance we experienced means, till 1991, we call our economy as a agrarian economy or agricultural economy. What is the meaning of the word agrarian economy means? An economy where the maximum output comes from the agriculture, okay. But after 1991, because of the LPG reforms, what we undertook or what we have introduced in our economy made the jump from agriculture to the service sector, okay, that is the impact. Because of 1991, okay, we made the jump from the agriculture to industry. And then here, okay, now why we call this as a jump means, this we'll learn more in detail in the service sector. I'll tell you some example, but now just I'll give you an idea alone. You have the idea alone in your mind. The exact notes I'll give for this segment in the service sector class, okay. So which means we are till 1991 our economy was an agricultural economy, but after 1991 our economy made the jump from agriculture to service sector. Why say like this, okay? Why we call agriculture to service means, let me give the points. Because till 1991, okay, in India, whatever the drop in agriculture, because till 1991 whatever the drop in agriculture happened, it was evenly absorbed by secondary sector and service sector. For example, agriculture sector got declined by 5%. Then the drop in 5% of agriculture, the growth rate was absorbed by secondary and service sector. But after 1991, whatever the drop we experienced in the growth rate of agriculture, it was directly, okay, transferred to the service sector. For example, if there is a 2% drop in agriculture, the 2% growth rate happened in the service sector. So industry got stagnated in the growth after 1991. That's the reason why we call. More than this, we'll learn exactly about this point, because these points will be having more meaning in the service sector. Here we are going to learn about the other perspectives, okay. So here, this why we call this as a jump means, this we'll learn in the exactly in the statistical angle, we'll learn in the service sector. But now we are going to learn about the other more dimensions of this area, okay. What are the other dimension means? We all know that our economy after 1991 got the jump made the jump from agriculture to service sector. Why? Why India made the jump? Okay. Why India made the jump? What were the factors which contributed for this jump? So India should have entered into industrial sector. No. Why the industries did not pick up? Why this sector got stagnated? Why we are unable to develop the industry? Why the service picked up? Okay, all these reasons we are going to learn now. So this is a very important segment. Why the not why? How the industrial policies of 1991 resulted in the transformation of our economy from agrarian to service sector, that we are going to do now. Okay. So the heading is improper jump. All the other things what I told are the introduction. Okay, introduction for our class. So the core area we are going to learn is about the improper jump, which we call it as the premature deindustrialization of our economy. Okay. So now write the heading. Okay, agree to service. Why the industries didn't pick up for India? Right, this heading. I'll explain the points one by one because the area needs more explanation. First, you write this heading alone. Agree to service. Why industries didn't pick up for our economy? Now, one by one, I'll explain the point. Okay. First, let me explain these 2 points in a combined way. Okay. So after my explanation, you can write, or you can write and then listen to my explanation. Okay. Anything you can do. Okay. So now I'm going to explain about the first 2 points. We got many points, 6 or 7 points we have. Now the first point. What is the meaning of the first point is public sector led capital formation. What is the meaning? Till 1991, we all know that our economy was following an approach called as a reservation of sectors. What is the meaning of the word reservation of sectors? Some parts of the economy were exclusively reserved for the central government and state governments. Privates, they were not allowed to enter into some area, okay, or enter into significant areas. As a result, because of that approach, because of the reservation approach, we did not develop the competing ability, or did not develop the financial abilities of the private sector. They were restricted to operate only in less area. Suddenly, when you expect them to operate in the major areas, they were not having the competency. They were not having the ability to do large-scale investments in our economy. Let me repeat the point. Till 1991, most of the crucial areas and significant areas of our economy was dominated or was operated by the government. Suddenly, after 1991, when we expected the privates to do the investments, they were not able to do the investments. Why? Because till 1991, our economy was led by public sector. Government industries, and then government was doing the investment. So the privates were not given the role or space to operate in the other significant areas. If they were given the space to operate, then they would have done the investment, they would have made profit, they would have developed their financial capability. So without developing all this capability, after 1991, when we said, okay, we are de-reserving, we are privatizing, privates you can operate, you can do the business means. So only we gave the permission, but the privates were not having capability. Few privates alone, they were having the capability, others were not having the capability, okay. So public sector was leading the capital formation in our economy till 1991. After 1991, when we expected the privates to jump in, to do the role instead of the public, they were unable to do so, okay, that is the reason. Because of that, because of their inability to do investments in the areas, we are not getting the right capital formation in our economy. What is the meaning of the word? We were not able to get the right capital formation. Capital formation is the amount of investment which happens in an economy during a particular period of time, which means the amount of investments what you do. That we call it as gross capital formation. So investment was lacking. Because of lack of investment, we are not able to develop the capital formation, or we are not unable to have the capital formation in our economy. Without capital formation, you cannot go ahead with the production, or you cannot improve the growth rate of this sector. Okay, that is the point. So now you can have the comprehensive understanding of the first 2 points. Okay, so first 2 points for writing purpose I have given. For understanding purpose, I have explained you the point in detail. Okay, let me tell the point once again. Till 1991, our economy was completely dominated by the government. Government was occupying the majority areas. Government was occupying the major areas or significant areas, majority as well as major. they were doing the business. Suddenly after 1991, when he gave the permission to the private players were unable to do investment because we did not develop the wings of the privates were not developed. Suddenly when they are asked to fly, okay, they are unable to fly because we are not developed the wings of the private players. Economic wings were primitive, we did not develop the wings of the private player. That is the point. Now, this point you can write in your own words, okay, when the question is asked in examination. So only the first two things. So privates, as they were not capable, we are not getting the investments. Without investments, production will not pick up. Without the production, we could not expect the acceleration in the growth rate of our economy. That's all. Okay, first 2 points are done. Now we are going to learn about the third point. Okay, third point. Okay, have you all written? So now we are done with the first 2 points. Okay, so now the second point. What is second point? Okay, in the core economics, the national income class, you would have learned about the ICAR. Even in the planning class, we had a glance about the ICAR. So what is ICAR means? Incremental capital output ratio. For example, what is the extra investment you have to do to increase the output? Okay, output or else to have the incremental output. What is the incremental investment we have to carry out? We have to do. That is called as ICAR. So normally you know that in an economy, when you compare the industrial sector with the service sector, among the two, which one has got more ICAR? Means the manufacturing sector has got more ICAR than the service sector. For example, when you need 100 rupees to start a business in manufacturing, means you need less than 100, which means 70 or 50 or 40 rupees to do the business in service sector. So in India, manufacturing, or not only India, throughout the world, manufacturing comparatively has got higher ICAR than the service sector. And higher ICAR means you have to do more investments, but even the lesser investments lesser investment could not be done by the private players. So as they were unable to do the lesser investments, the manufacturing was demanding more investments. How they could do the more investments? So they could not do the more investment. So what the privates did means they made all the investments only in the service sector because it actually enabled them or it permitted them to do business with the less investments. Let me repeat the point. Okay, now let me explain this point in a very simple way. Okay, what is ICAR? We know that ICAR is always higher for manufacturing but lower for service sector. As a result, high ICAR made the industrialists, okay, made the people to go to do their business in service sector because here with less investment you can do your business. Here, to do the business, you need more investments because ICAR is always higher for manufacturing than the service sector. This made the investments to get diverted towards the service sector. When the investments get diverted, automatically more capital formation will take place in the service sector. Because of more capital formation, automatically the business prospects will improve in the service sector. Okay, this is the point. This you can write in your own words. Higher ICAR. Okay, so what is the point means? Higher ICAR. ICAR is always higher for manufacturing. ICAR is always, okay, higher for manufacturing. Higher for manufacturing than the service sector. Is higher for manufacturing than the service sector. Higher for manufacturing than the service sector. So this resulted in diversion of investments. This resulted in diversion of investments. This resulted in diversion of investments towards the service sector rather than the manufacturing. Okay, so this resulted. One by one, you just understand the points, writing and all, okay, do not worry, okay. You can write in your own words. This resulted in diversion of investments towards the service sector rather than manufacturing. This resulted in diversion of investments towards the service sector rather than manufacturing. Okay. Now what is the other? Okay. Now the 2 points you are clear. Government was leading the pack till 1991. Suddenly when they took the back seat, when they expected the privates to jump in, they are unable to jump in because of their capability were not developed by the government. Okay. Because of that lack of investment. Second point. Third point, higher ICAR also prevented the people to do investments in manufacturing because lower investments, with lower investments you could do business in service sector. This made the people to invest in the service sector. Now what are the other points? Okay. Other point is, now these points you need some explanation. Now okay, so these 2 points I can explain in a combined way, but this point separate point. Okay, now write the point, I'll explain. Okay, the bullet is inward oriented economic growth. You write, then I'll explain. Inward oriented economic growth. Karthik, what you are trying to say, Karthik? Minimum input required that will increase the GDP. I think Karthik has given answer for ICAR. Is it right, Karthik, or you are trying to say something? ICAR, fine, Karthik. Okay. Okay, now, what is the meaning of the word inward-oriented economic growth means? Till 1991, our economy was a closed economy. We all know. What is the meaning of the word closed economy? We were not globally connected. We were not letting the foreign people to enter into our country. We were not allowing the foreign direct investments, or we were not letting the exports, imports. So we were a closed economy. But after 1991, suddenly we made our economy as an open economy. Open economy means now anyone can come to India. Indian players can go and do investments, can do business in any country. Imports can come to India. India can do exports like that. We opened the economy all of a sudden on 1991. But when we did those reforms, our people, they were unable to understand the global picture, because till 1991, you did not develop the experience, global business experience among our people. So they were unable to exactly grasp what the people require, what they demand, what we have to produce. Okay, so this thing, we are not having the exact understanding of the global market. So after 1991, suddenly when you open the economy, our players, they were unable to understand the requirements of the global market, because our economy was inward oriented. Okay, we are a closed economy till 1991. Okay, that's the reason. After 1991, our manufacturing sector was unable to do business or to do the supply according to the global requirements, because our manufacturing was not aligned with the trade, or our manufacturing was not aligned with the demands at the global level. Why means? Because we were just focusing on our internal demand, what our people need, what our companies need, how much to produce, what to produce. So we are not having any idea about the global picture. So that is the point which because why the secondary sector was unable to, now let me conclude the point. Why the secondary sector was unable to develop, that is the area we are learning. So here we are concluding that, so our economy became an open economy after 1991. So how we can utilize the open economy? Open economy can be utilized by the country when we do more exports. When you do more exports, what will happen? So to do exports, you will be producing. So your companies will be producing. Whatever they produce as output will be exported. When they go as exports, then you'll get more payments. When you get more payments or receipts, actually you'll make more money. Okay, but we were unable to do exports. So as why we are unable to export? Because we are not able to understand the pulse of the global trade, because our manufacturing was not aligned with the global trade, because we were highly inward oriented economy till 1991. That is the point. Okay, so this point, okay, if you want to elaborate, you can write. Okay, till 1991 our economy was a closed economy. Till 1991 our economy was a closed economy. Till 1991, our economy was a closed economy, and we were unable to understand the requirements of global trade. And we were unable to understand the requirements of global trade. And we were unable to understand the requirements of global trade even after the reforms. Even after the reforms. Okay. So this point we have done. Next thing. This point is very important. The 2 point you write. Okay, 2 point you write, then I'll explain. Okay, growth based only on supply side, and then we were not having any idea about the demand side, or we did not develop the demand side. You write both the points, then I'll go elaborate on this. Growth based only on supply side, and lack of demand side focus. You write that, then I'll explain this in detail. Growth based on supply side, and we're not having any idea about the demand side. What is the meaning? Meaning of the point is growth based on supply side and not based on the demand side. Okay. Now, till 1991, okay, so what we were doing means till 1991, if we have a government company, for example, PSU, take for example ONGC or BEL or GAIL or NTPC, whatever, if you have a government company, so government was always focusing on improving the efficiency of the government company. For example, what the government will do means, if I have a government company, so last month my company was able to produce this much output. But this month what I should do, I should improve the productivity of my company. I should improve the efficiency of my company. So they will bring some technology, they will try to modernize the process, okay. Like that they were trying all means, okay, all means to increase the efficiency or increase the productivity or increase the supply side, supply or the output. So if last month if the company was able to produce 100 liters or 100 cars or 1000 cars, this month my company should be able to produce 2000 cars or 1100 cars. Like that we were aiming to improve the efficiency, okay. But there is no harm, okay, there is no harm. That is always a good process in a business. You are focusing on your efficiency or productivity, that's a good idea. But where actually it backfired, okay, for our economy means, so here when you are focusing on your supply side, there is no harm. But alongside, okay, in a parallel manner, simultaneously, you should also focus on the demand side, okay. For example, if I am running my business, I am improving the output of my business means, so here only if I improve the output, there is no meaning. Here whatever I produce, it must get sold in the market, okay. It must be demanded by the market. So the market players should be ready to buy my product. So what I should do means I should also increase the demand for my products in the market, either domestically or globally. So for example, just if I am focusing on my production demand, producing more and more means here, my supply will have the meaning only when they have the corresponding demand in the market. But our economy till 1991 was focusing more only on the supply side. Supply side means efficiency and productivity and production, investments, everything our government was doing. But we are unable to focus on the demand side. So demand actually comes for industries in two sides. One is domestic demand or international demand. Domestic demand means where the domestic demand will come from. Domestic demand means our domestic industries, they should demand the products or our people should demand the products. So our domestic industries means our domestic industries did not develop. Then how they will demand? They cannot provide their demand. Our people, they were not having job itself. They are not having income itself. So how our people will start demanding the products? Our people will not demand. So where the demand should come from? Demand should come only from the other countries. But other countries, they were not giving their business to India. They were giving the business to other countries. Why they were not giving the business to India means because our economy was a closed economy till 1991. All of a sudden, we are unable to penetrate into the global market. That is a one viewpoint. But we got one more beautiful viewpoint also. Okay, that is a very important viewpoint because you may ask me, sir, you are saying that our economy was a closed one till 1991. But after 1991, we became open. You are saying that because of suddenly opening the economy, we are unable to get business and manufacturing. But you are also at the same time saying that our economy made the jump from agriculture to service. Because when we made the jump from agri to service, it means that in service we got more demand. In service we got more business. So here, when you are unable to get the business in manufacturing, how come we got business in service alone? Because we are able to become service economy now. So that this question may come into your minds. Okay, once the class gets over, when you revise the notes at your home, you may have this doubt on your mind. Okay. So what is the reason? Okay, here you have to understand the picture. One picture I have finished. I told you that we are focusing only on the supply side. We are not focusing on the demand side. Demand should come from domestically or internationally. Domestically, we are very weak. Internationally, people were not showing interest to buy India's manufactured goods. Okay. So here, why they were not showing interest on India's manufactured goods, but they were showing interest on India's service sector. Why India was able to dominate the IT sector, financial services, BPO, but India was unable to dominate the manufacturing means here comes the very, very important, interesting, important scenario. Okay, what is the scenario means? Now you get the picture, then you can write. Okay, so we know that the world has faced the three revolutions till now. Okay, now we are in the we are going to face the fourth revolution. What is the revolution means? Industrial Revolution 1, Industrial Revolution 2, Industrial Revolution 3, Industrial Revolution 4. What is Industrial Revolution 1 means? So it is all about the invention of the steam energy and about the mechanical energy, the finding the machines, invention of machines. So it makes the part of the revolution number 1. This revolution happened on 1780. Anyway, in detailed way, I'll talk about this invention in the last segment of our industry class. But now I'm just putting a spark on your mind, okay? So, the Industrial Revolution 1 happened on 1780. Industrial Revolution 2, it happened on 1870, which means so almost 200 years back. The third revolution, where we are now, okay, where you are the part, integral part is all about it's called as the third revolution. Third revolution is all about the computers, it's about electronics. So first one is about the mechanical energy. Second one is about the invention of electricity. Third one is about the invention of computers and electronics. Fourth revolution is all about we know about the artificial intelligence, it's all about the robotics, it's about the internet of things. So these things and all makes a part of the fourth revolution. Now fourth we are going to have, third now we are in the third revolution. Now this plot, what we are learning, has got its connection with the third revolution. Now let me recap the point. I was telling you that India was focusing more only on the supply side. We were not focusing on the demand side. So demand should come domestically or internationally. Domestically we were very weak, so we are unable to develop the demand because people income was very less, industry was very weak, agriculture was very weak. But the external demand should come from, but external demand came only for India's service sector, did not come for India's manufactured goods. Why it did not come for manufactured goods? It came only for service sector means here the answer lies in Industrial Revolution 3. So what is the connection? Industrial Revolution 1 happened around 1780. Second revolution happened around 1870. Third one happened around 1969 or 1970 approximately. Okay. So 1970 only the world has come to know that there is a concept called as a computer and then electronics. These things are going to dominate the world, which means entire world, they understood about the computers, electronics and the services based on this revolution only on 1970, which means this concept is a new concept to the entire world. But this one, Revolution 1, Revolution 2 was completely old concept. So this concept was thorough for many countries, and we were having the many industrial leaders throughout the world. For example, we had having the German economy, having UK economy, US economy. So we're having the world class top leaders in the Revolution 1 and Revolution 2, which means these countries are already dominating the manufacturing business, but the service sector is new to the world. So this concept itself new to the world. So India easily we are able to capture the opportunities which came after the Revolution 3, but we are unable to penetrate this sector because already we are having industrial giants in those areas, and moreover our economy also a closed one. Now I think you got the complete picture. Okay. So now this point, okay, I given a complete picture. Anyway, this point I will explain you in more detail at the end of our industry class, and also once again I'll touch the same segment in the service sector class. Okay. So now I just thrown a spark into your mind about this thing. Okay, what was the scenario? Why we were unable to pick up in manufacturing? Why we picked up only in the service sector? Because these are the normal doubts which may come on your mind once the class gets over. Okay. Now you write the point. Okay, write the points for this. For the second one. Growth based on the supply side and lack of demand side focus. So write the content. Till 1991, our industrial producers or our industries. Till 1991, our industrial producers or our industries focused only on the supply side. Focused only on the supply side. Till 1991, our producers or our industries or industrial producers focused only on supply side. Bracket you write. Supply side means output or efficiency or productivity. Then you close the bracket. Supply side means output, efficiency or productivity. So till 1991 our industrial players focused only on the supply side rather than the demand side. Focused only on the supply side rather than the demand side. As a result, our manufacturing sector was unable to develop the business. As a result, our manufacturing sector was unable to develop the business. As a result, our manufacturing sector was unable to develop the business. As a result, our manufacturing sector was unable to develop the business. Next point, the demand for a business should come from, or else you don't write from. The demand for a business should come domestically or internationally. The demand for a business should come domestically or internationally. Should come domestically or internationally. Next point. Already our domestic demand was weak. And the international demand, already our domestic demand was weak, and the international demand we got only for the service sector. Already our domestic demand was weak, and the international demand we received only for the service sector. Okay, already our domestic demand was weak, and the international demand we got only for the service sector. Okay, the service sector unable to, and the international demand we got only for the service sector. This paved way for improper jump. These events paved way for improper jump of our economy. These events paved way for improper jump of our economy. These events paved way for improper jump of our economy. So here, students, here I am telling you the points based on the reasons which played spoil sport for manufacturing. Okay. So here the same point when you write in the service sector angle. Why the service sector picked up? Okay, that I am not at all telling. Remember, okay, that point industrial revolution I brought in just to tell you or to clarify your mind so that at home you won't be having the doubt. Okay, when you think about why the service sector picked up means that I can tell for some 5 or 7 points that I will tell only in service sector. Okay, here we are learning about the weakness of manufacturing. We are not learning about the positives of service sector. Okay, so here don't think that service sector positive. What are the we had some knowledge economy, sir. We got the elasticity of demand for service sector like that. Don't bring the point. Okay, here we are telling only about the weakness of manufacturing. We are not telling about the positives of service sector. That will deal. I'll tell you only in the service sector. Okay, because two-way. Okay, so this we have done with here. Next one, labor market rigidity. Next point you write this very simple point, students. Labor market rigidity. So in India, we were having the frightening labor unions on labor policies. You all know that. Okay, the protest and then union, the demands, what they. Okay, so it was frightening the people. So the same laws we are not having for the service sector. Service sector, okay, the labor laws, whatever we had was applicable only to the manufacturing business. As a result, the people they feared that, okay, with this rigid climate, why I should go for the manufacturing business? Let me put my focus in the service sector where the things are more liberal in nature. So the labor market rigidity, it frightened the people, made them to get their investment diverted towards the service sector. That's one among the point. Okay, labor market here, you know that when you go to any foreign country and all, okay, they adopt the policy called as a hire and fire. Okay, so even in the IT sector or the service sector in India, imagine that. Okay, so the scenario is different now, but that's not the case in the India's manufacturing. The codes what we had. Okay, so as a result, the people, okay, they were frightened. They got frightened. Okay, so So actually when they do the hire and fire, so it is very, so it's a severe blow on the employee side. As an employee, we will be affected, okay? But employees, they need the condition like this only because, so they will be favored, okay? So as a result, the labor market rigidity was very, was not conducive for the investments in the manufacturing sector, okay? That is the point regarding the, that's the meaning of this point, very simple. Then comes the last point at the heading, infrastructure bottlenecks, which means the loopholes or the things what we are not having in the infrastructure, okay? Or simply we can rewrite it as the inadequate infrastructure, okay? Inadequate infrastructure. Now, what is the meaning of this point? Okay, now I am taking the class, okay? So now which means I am teaching. Our office, Shankar IAS Academy, is in the service sector. So we are in the service sector, we are not in the manufacturing. Now imagine that, okay, so now we are in the partial lockdown, okay, which means we are not allowed to allow the students inside the class, okay. But with all the restrictions, we are able to carry the business. So I'm here, okay, in a simple classroom with the technology, okay. You are able to interact, I'm able to interact, I'm able to deliver the content, you are able to receive the content, okay. So here, okay, even if I got this much classroom, even the classroom is taken away. So if I am given a small space, okay, in the small space, I can just deliver my content, okay. So in the same angle, okay, most of the services, okay, most of the services, it don't require more infrastructure, but the industrial business, you cannot do in a small space. Moreover, even they do the business, then regarding the transport, regarding the consumption of raw materials, regarding the electricity, okay, you require more sort of infrastructure. So without the adequate infrastructure, you cannot carry out the business in the manufacturing, but with the least infrastructure, somehow you can do the business in the service sector. So on 1991 until 2000 in India, the infrastructure was very weak. So we are having the very weak infrastructure. As a result, so the people thought that, so I don't have the adequate infrastructure. So let me, if I get into manufacturing, my business may get affected. So they automatically chose the service sector with whatever infrastructure we had at the time. Okay. So this is the reason India was having the poor infrastructure. This played a very important role for diverting the funds towards the service sector because it requires the less infrastructure. These are the points why the money did not come towards the manufacturing, because manufacturing sector was having the infrastructure loopholes, it was having labor market rigidity, it was not having the demand, so it was focusing only on the supply side, and then the manufacturing was focusing only the inward oriented, and ICA ratio was very higher, and then the government was leading the manufacturing business till 1991, and the private's capability we are not developed, okay. All the things we have learned only about the weakness of manufacturing, okay. Here and there, for understanding purpose alone, I have just taken the clue of the service sector. So here I have not brought any points from the service sector, okay. Service sector, the US economy, okay, they started some deregulation in their business policy. These things and all we learn why the service sector picked up. But here that's not we are learning why the manufacturer did not pick up. There's a two-dimensional way of looking at the things. So when question is asked us why the service sector picked up means different type of point you write. But here the question is why the manufacturing did not pick up. So we have to write in that way. So I have conveyed the points in that way. So this is the reason why the India made the jump and then secondary sector was unable to make the jump. Okay. So the heading is agreed to service, why the industries didn't pick up. Okay. So we have learned the points for this segment. Okay. So now we are done with this segment. Now I'm going to explain the next point. Okay. Next, the analytical segment, one more segment is pending. What is the one more segment is? Here we have learned about the reasons why the industry didn't pick up. Here there is one more thing also we have to understand. Because we all know that in the previous class, agriculture class, I told you that agriculture, we have a scenario called as disguised unemployment. What is disguised unemployment means? So it is a scenario where more people are doing the job which could be done by less people. Then in that class, I told you that why more people are doing the job or else why more people are depending on agriculture means because agriculture farmer can work as an agricultural laborer or he can work as an industrial laborer, okay, but he cannot work as a service sector employee. So the chance, okay, the probability what is got is either in agriculture or in the industrial sector. But industry never offered jobs to our economy. Industry never picked up. Only when the industry is picked up, then the farmers, they would have made the shift from agri to industry. So industry is never picked up. As a result, the farmer, they got stayed back in agriculture. So the reason is why we have disguised unemployment means because industry is never picked up. As a result, more people, they got stuck back with agriculture. Now the question is, why the industrial sector was unable to deliver more jobs in our economy, okay? Why the industry got stagnated in giving jobs to the people? So we are going to learn why we are unable to create more jobs in manufacturing. We are not going to learn in the why the sector didn't pick up. We are going to learn about why the sector was unable to deliver more jobs, okay? So that we are going to learn now. So next heading is, now write the heading, reasons why the manufacturing sector got stagnated in providing employment. And then Scindia, do we have notes dictated for the labor market and bottlenecks? Labor market rigidity, that point itself will become the notes, Scindia. If you want to write means you can write. The labor market rules were frightening the industrialist. Were frightening the industrialist. You can write, like, if you want to write means you can write. Labor market rules were rigid in our economy, rigid, and where it was frightening the industrialist. Were rigid and frightening the industrialist, and it diverted the investments from industry to the service sector. Labor market rules were favoring the employees but not the employers. The rules were rigid, okay, like that. Rules were rigid and it were frightening the investors, industrialists, okay, like that you can write. Then regarding the infrastructure bottleneck, I think they are simple points, that's why I did not go elaborate. Infrastructure bottlenecks means the deficiencies. The deficiencies what we have in infrastructure, because to do the business you need 24/7 electricity, you need proper roads, you need proper ports, you need, okay, and then, okay, you need the proper banking network, okay, all the things, you need the proper transport network, you need the proper energy supply, you need the proper communication. So all the infrastructure, okay, is mandatory for the manufacturing, but those things are not mandatory for the service sector. So you can write the infrastructure was inadequate. When you want to elaborate, you can elaborate. Infrastructure facilities were inadequate. As a result, more investments were not taking place in manufacturing sector. Okay, so those points are very simple. That's why I did not give notes. If you want to elaborate means you can write like this. Okay, that's the answer to Scindia's doubt. Chandra Mohan, affected the ease of doing business. Yes, Chandra Mohan, okay. So the labor market rigidity, infrastructure bottlenecks, okay, they affected the ease of doing business in manufacturing, okay. So people thought that if I get into the business, okay, I may not be able to do the business in an easy way, okay, I have to struggle. So why you should get into manufacturing? Let me get into service sector, okay. That's the reason why the funds got diverted, okay. Then Karthik doubt. Explain yes, Karthik, okay. So I think now Karthik has given reply also. Then Nilar Jyoti Pal. Is less demand for manufacturing good for India for closed economy till 1991? No, actually, when we have the less demand, it was actually bad for our economy only. Okay, not only before 1991, always it is a bad sign for the economy. But till 1991, we thought that if we open our economic gates, so our domestic producers maybe will be affected, because always in economy you cannot have a single pill or a single medicine to eliminate all the problems like that. Don't have any solution in economics, okay? Because for example, take the monetary policy. RBI, when they increase the repo rate, so RBI may control the inflation, okay? So the money supply will be reduced by the RBI by the increase in repo rate. But when they do that, what will happen? The industrial people, they may not be able to get the loans at the low rate of interest. They may not be able to borrow. They may not be able to invest. They may not be able to go ahead with the production. So growth rate of the economy may be affected. Employment may be affected. So in that angle, exchange rate of our country will be increased. So in that angle, exporters will be affected like that. So one angle, when you increase the repo rate, it is a one-dimensional positive, but it has got its own side effects. Because so the same angle, when you bring down the repo rate, what will happen? So automatically, okay, the interest rate will be lower for the people, and then they can borrow at low cost. So investments will take place, then production will take place, then actually growth rate will improve, employment will improve. But when it's brought down, what will happen? So our exchange rate will be affected. Exchange rate will decrease. Exchange rate decreases means exporters will be benefited, importers will be affected like that. So in that, so when you toss a coin, okay, you cannot expect that, okay, so only positives will happen. So one-sided positive, other-sided negative. So what we normally used to do in economy means which matters most, which is a priority. Now inflation is a priority, or growth is a priority, or exchange rate is a priority, or employment is a priority. Based on that only we take the call. Sometimes, okay, a call may have its intended benefit and then unintended consequences also. Okay, so for example, now imagine that now we are in the pandemic. To address the pandemic, all countries across the world, they are taking many monetary easing, they are doing the fiscal expansions here, all policy we are doing now, so we want to revive the growth, okay. But now a question should come on your mind. Now what is the question should come on your mind? Sir, when you are able to do this much support measure to economy, why these governments are not doing the support measure during normal time? They should have done the normal time now, because so there is an economic logic that, okay, you are not allowed to do these expansionary measures during normal time, because it will have its own consequences. But now we got the pandemic, we got the downward spiral, so we want to recover the economy, so we are going for the extra mile. But all this extra mile will be having its own consequences, okay. Once the pandemic gets addressed, once the economy recovers, okay, when we try to, okay, so take back all the remedial measures, then once again, okay, other side effects will happen, okay. So economy is always a thing where you don't have a particular medicine for all the problems, okay. One medicine will solve a problem and will create one more problem, okay. In that angle only you have to approach the entire economic business. Okay, Sindhya fine, Karthik fine, okay, Chandra Mohan is anyway. And then do we have notes? Yes, that I answered, explain, okay, less demand. Then Nilal Jyotis, I answered for Nilal Jyotis. Lack of adequate knowledge, yes, Chandra Mohan has answered. Then Magesh, India is unable to become hub of manufacturing because of substandard engineering college. Don't get. Okay, Magesh. So and also, okay, high ICOR in industrial. That, okay, Magesh point, okay, how we can write means, okay, even now, okay, we can just bring that point, okay, that's what do you feel, okay, you can write in the paper. So how the point same can be written means, okay, we are not developing the practical knowledge, okay, so, or the research, okay, the aptitude among the minds of the students. We are more theoretical in our approach as a result. Or else for that also in the interview when you go means you may have some counters from the board, because the people may say now we are having the Atal Innovation Mission. So like that we are trying to induce the innovative climate. We got the startup ecosystem in our economy where we are trying to provide the innovative ecosystem like that. Theoretically we have some answers, but practically, okay. So what you feel is right, okay, I also agree with you. But the thing is, so when you write means we can write, okay, we are that same point. Here last class I told you, no, same point you write to pitch in the subtle way, okay. Then higher ICOR in industrial sector, because yes, okay, then I think all the doubts are over. Fine. Okay, students, now let's get, okay, reasons. Manufacturing sector stagnation in employment. Okay, manufacturing sector stagnation in employment. Why the manufacturing sector was unable to provide employment? Okay, now the question answer. Now, before getting into the answer, you write the data. So, because you should have the understanding of the data, no? So, why we are using the word stagnation? Why we are using the word stagnation? Okay. Why we are using the word stagnation? 50 to 80, our growth was only 12.4%. 50 to 80. Paul, actually, are you calling me? Paul, you are online now. Are you calling me? Calling me, or you just because Cynthia has texted, sir, Paul is calling you. No, Paul, you are online now.
Hello, sir, am I audible, sir?
You're audible.
Yes, sir. My question is China is a communist country also, and they follow the communist economy till 1984. After 1984, they got a huge investment from the foreign country, like Apple or some is a manufacturing hub, like China supply chain belong to the China now, whole industrial supply chain. But for the 7 years, India cannot get so much of supply chain or so much of industry or foreign direct investment from foreign country. Why this type of for 7 years only for 7 years?
Over finished, Paul. Your question finished.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I'll repeat your question. Okay, check whether understanding is right. Okay, so your question is Chinese economy. Okay, only on 1994 they become the open economy. Okay, but the economy they are able to develop the strong supply chain. They are able to become the manufacturing hub of the world. Okay, when the China is able to do that, why India is unable to do that? Is your question right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, fine. So the thing is, Paul. The thing is actually China actually they are actually the model what they initiated is only bottom to top model they went on. They did not go for the top to bottom model. So they went for the bottom to top model, okay, which means they developed the strong agriculture. Then actually they started the grassroots level industries. Then from then on they moved on to the next level. So it actually picked up. But actually we also have the many other countries in the world. They went also for the bottom to top. For them it didn't pick up. Okay, Chinese actually you can say that the communistic approach, whether it is some economists they point out that the communistic approach it became advantageous for the China, or else the focus on the research and development. Okay, because they were focusing more on the research. They were and moreover they were highly cost effective products they were manufacturing. So these things also were advantages for the China. So in this angle, many economists, okay, the people those who written some articles about China, they say that okay, but in India we were till 1991 we were not liberal. At the same time we were more restrictive. After 1991 we are more liberal, but at the same time, okay, even though we became more liberal, okay, we did not develop the scientific acumen or the innovative ecosystem in our economy. But all these things were taking place on the China. So that is the thing pointed out by the many people. But along with that, regarding the population also, the population control measures, okay, what they actually followed in their country, it actually played the supporting role to their economic growth, because in India we did not follow the kind of the population control policies what China adopted. We adopted only the democratic policies. Okay, why it is connected means because whatever the growth rate you achieve, it will be nullified by the increase in the population rate of the economy. But China's, okay, whatever the growth rate they achieve, it was able to get converted into per capita income. It also got converted into the living standards of the people because of the controlled population rate of the economy. But in India, the poverty remained, and then inequality remained. Okay, and then the imbalanced development of our economy also, it's also played the spoil sport. There they somehow tried to maintain the balanced regional development. They tried, and then many industrial parks they developed in the economy where they gave more focus on these small industries. And then regarding the industrial development, there also one more economist he pointed out that okay, the industrial parks, okay, there also corruption took place, okay, but corruption was controlled by the government in a larger scale. But in our economy, so here, okay, so whatever the small scale industries, development corporation or the initiatives, whatever we started, okay, they almost it got nullified, okay. The efforts of the government got nullified by the corrupt practices, and then the lack of implementation. But there, the most of the things were implemented in a proper manner. In India, all the efforts we took, but the thing is regarding implementation, okay, it was not exactly implemented. Government will plan something, and then at central level 100% vision they have, and then state level it will get implemented up to 75%. At the bottom level only 40% got implemented. Okay, but in China, okay, when they plan something for 100%, almost 80% of their planning got implemented in the economy because of the communistic approach, or because of the implementation what they adopted. Okay, but in India, because of the liberal, okay, we became more liberal in implementation. We were not questioning, okay, and then if the things were not properly implemented, we were not doing questioning. As a result, it backfired for our economy. Okay, that is the point mentioned by the economists in the articles. Okay, that's the thing what I came from. Okay, so these are the views. Okay, for your question.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Next, thank you. Thank you. Next question. Thank you. Fine. Okay. Chandramohan actually only after 94 only they became the completely open. Before that it was a pre-liberal period, Chandramohan, okay, for China. Okay, so what you are saying is partially right. Okay, so now let's get into this segment. Okay, occupational structure. So what does occupational structure means? 1950 to 80 our secondary sector was providing employment to the employment only at the level of 12.4%, and 80 to 90 it was 15.2%, and 91 to 2005 it was 15.8%. Okay, which means It was 12.4. It got marginally increased by 3%, and there it got stuck back, okay, at the level of only with the 0.6% improvement. So even now, when you take the data, it is around 20, 22. That's because of the multiple efforts taken by the government. So here it got stagnated at the levels of 15.2 and 15.2%. What are the reasons why the manufacturing got stagnated? Why there is no improvement in the manufacturing contribution? That we are going to learn now. Okay. Now write the point one by one. Now I'm going to tell you the points one by one. Now write the first point alone. Okay. Write the first point. Lack of supportive policies. Lack of supportive policies. Lack of supportive policies. What is the meaning of the word lack of supportive policies means? Now, let me make this clear. Okay, first point. Lack of supportive policy. What is the meaning of the word lack of supportive policy means? For example, if I'm planning to start a business, I got some 1 crore cash in my hand. Okay, I am planning to start the business. Now I have two choices. One is I can put all my investments in manufacturing, or I may do in a service sector. Okay. Now imagine that I decided that I'm going to put all my investment in the manufacturing. Okay, which means I have just rejected service sector. I'm going to invest all in the manufacturing. Okay. In manufacturing, there are two choices. There are one group of industries called as a capital intensive. There is one more group of industry called as a labor intensive. Capital intensive require more capital but require less manpower. Labor intensive require less capital, they require more manpower. Here the thing is, if I go for labor intensive, I have to comply with the more labor laws. It is actually tougher to do the business in labor intensive than in the capital intensive. So capital intensive is easy to do the business, but the only drawback is I have to do more investments. But here now you imagine that I have chosen to do business in the labor intensive. Even after the labor laws, even after all those formalities, I am planning to do the business in labor intensive. Now comes the last final thing. What is the final thing? Whatever returns, whatever earnings I do from the business, I have to file tax to the government. Now what was the rate of tax for the capital intensive? What was the rate of tax for labor intensive? It was uniform to both the industries. Okay, which means even if I do business in the labor intensive, even if I do business in capital intensive, I have to pay the same tax rate to the government. So we are not having the policies which will support the people, those who are coming forward to do the business in the labor intensive industries. As a result, many people, they were not coming forward. Okay. As a result, many people, they were not coming forward to do the business in the labor intensive industries. Because whatever I do, okay, I have to pay same tax. So why I should trouble myself with starting the labor intensive industries? Let me go ahead with the capital intensive industry. That's the reason, one thing which actually, which was a drawback for lack of industries in the labor intensive segment in our country. Now we write this point. Lack of supportive policies. First point is the lack of supportive policies. This both you can write. Both the points come in a combined way you can write. Both the points in a combined way you can write. Lalit Kumar has asked, sir, in labor market rigidity, the rules are rigid for labor or investors? The rules are rigid for the investors. Okay, it was conducive for laborers. For employees, they were say the rules were safe, but for employers, the companies, the rules were not safe. Okay, stringent. Under these 2 points you write. Okay, how to write means the policies at the time it did not favor the investments in labor intensive industry. The policies did not favor the investments. The policies did not favor the investments in labor intensive industries. The policies did not favor the investments in labor intensive industries. Did not favor the investments in labor intensive industries. Okay, clear. So now the 2 points we have done. Okay, why we are unable to, because why we are learning this point under this segment means because the more number of labor intensive industries you have, the more employment opportunities you'll get for the economy. What are the examples for labor intensive? Example, we have industries like textile, we have industries like leather, okay, we have industries like the jute industry, food processing. These are the labor intensive industries of an economy. But there we are having the uniform, okay, we are having the uniform industries, okay, not having the, we are having the uniform tax rates for both the industry. As a result, people are not coming forward to promote the business in the labor intensive segment, okay. That's the meaning of the first 2 points. Now, okay, now this point also I think we have done, okay. Third point also, labor intensive industry, you can write some example, textiles, leather, jute, okay, food processing. Like that, you can write some examples for the labor intensive industries. Now, this point, okay, it's a very important point. Next point is more technical. I'll explain this point. Splintering of industrial opportunities or industrial activities. Splintering of industrial activities. Okay. Now, let me explain theoretically. Then, okay, let me do it with some examples. Okay. What is the meaning of the word splintering means? More as you are from weekend batch. Some of you may be working, okay, in some companies, okay. So the word is maybe quite familiar to you. What is the meaning is? Splintering is nothing but, when I replace the word splintering with some other word, you'll automatically understand the concept, okay. What is the point? Splintering is nothing but it is the concept of outsourcing of jobs. Outsourcing of jobs. It's not outsourcing of business. It is the outsourcing of jobs. So what is the meaning is? For example, now if I'm doing my business, okay, if I'm doing my industrial business, now in my company, I may be having different type of activities within my company. For example, one segment I'll be having my production segment. Another side I'll be having my packing segment. Another side I'll be having my transport segment. Another segment I'll be having the human resource management team. Okay. Another side all the counseling. Okay, financial not counseling. Okay, all the side services. Okay, legal services, accounting services. Like the different departments. All the departments will work under my same company. Okay, but here what will happen is, once the country, once the service sector starts developing in the country, then what impact my company will have means the jobs which were once done under my company, now these certain jobs may be the part of the service sector. For example, for legal services, earlier I may be having some legal department in my company, but hereafter what I may decide to do is, I may plan to get the services of a legal company, okay, which means, so earlier I was having a legal expert in my company, but now I may take that posting, I may try to get some legal counseling. At the time of need, I may get the counseling. The same angle, earlier I was having a transport department, but now I'll make a call, the transport company will come, they'll pack the things, they will get the job done for me, which means earlier for the transport department I was having 3 employees or 4 employees or 5 employees, but now I'll take the employees out of my company. So I'll be focusing only on the core manufacturing. So what is the concept is, so the jobs which were once part of the manufacturing will get segregated from manufacturing, and this will become part of the service sector, so which is quite normal to the growth and development process of any economy. So you get the point. For example, how to make the point in a practical way means, now in the IT sector, you all can understand that there is a term called as outsourcing. So we are one of the global local leaders in the outsourcing business. For example, now imagine that we are getting business from US, or if we are getting business from UK, or any country we are getting, means what is the business? These are the business which are once done by the citizens of US. These are the jobs which are once done by the people of their country. But now their companies are giving those jobs to our country. When those jobs come to our country, we are getting employment in our country. So there they will be having the proportionate, okay, unemployment in their country. So there some person may be doing, but now we are doing. So we are getting the contribution of our service sector. We are having the growth of our service sector. We are having the employment in our country. Correspondingly or proportionately, they will be having the impact on their country. So this is the cross-country outsourcing, okay. But imagine the same country. Same country means here, if we have a Reliance company, Reliance manufacturing business, if they got 100 employees, if they have 100 employees in their company means, now what they will do means, certain business. Earlier, they were having the production segment, they were having the packing segment, they were having the HR segment, they were having the accounting segment, they were having the financial team, they are having legal team. But now, here they had 10 employees, here they had 10 employees, here 10 employees, here 10 employees, here 10 employees. So like that, they had some 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 employees. Means from 60, some 20 employees, they will get shifted to the service sector. So here the companies will be having 40 employees only, but because of having 40 employees, their business prospects will not be affected. So what is the concept? When economy when economy develops, automatically service sector will also develop. When service sector develops means then automatically the jobs which were once part of the manufacturing, now it will become the part of the service sector. Earlier you will be having a particular team called as a security staff for your company, but now what will happen? So here when you give a phone call, a security services will be offered by the another third party company. Okay, so here what they will do on a contract basis, they will send you the securities or staff. Okay, the same angle to transport the staff. Earlier you will be having your own vehicle, but now when you give a call, another company, transport services, they will provide the transport to your own staff. So the jobs which are once part of your company will be outsourced to the other companies. The other company may be in your country or in other country. Okay, so in your country means it is a domestic shift. Other country means it's an international shifting of jobs. This concept is called as normally called as outsourcing. Technically, we call this shift by the name called as a splintering. What is splintering means? The shifting of the jobs from the one sector to the another sector. So this happened to our economy also. So now the concluding point, now the concluding last point, listen, okay. Now what is the point is, if we had 100 jobs in manufacturing, from the 100 jobs, 20 jobs, it became the part of the service sector. As a result, the job count got reduced in manufacturing to 80. As a result, this also played spoil sport for the lack of employment opportunities in the manufacturing sector. That's all, okay. So this is the point. Now we can write the point. Okay. So this is the content. Now we can write. How to write? Splintering of industrial activities. How to write? The jobs which were once part of the manufacturing. The jobs which were once part of the manufacturing. The jobs which were once part of the manufacturing. The jobs which were once part of manufacturing will get segregated and become part of the service sector. Will get segregated and become part of service sector. Will get segregated and become part of service sector. Will get segregated and become part of service sector. This process is known as splintering or outsourcing of. This process is known as splintering or outsourcing of. This process is known as splintering or outsourcing of industrial jobs or industrial opportunities. This process is known as splintering or outsourcing of industrial opportunities. This process is similar to outsourcing. Okay, this process is similar to outsourcing. Okay, not similar. This process is known as outsourcing. Okay, now Sendil has texted, sir, is it similar to gig economy? No, Sendil, that's different. Okay, gig economy means that's now only in the pandemic. Okay, now regularly it's coming in the paper. So earlier it's a common. Okay. So it means the freelancers, even in IT field, okay, many field common you have now. For example, imagine, take myself, okay, if I'm a permanent faculty, what I will do means, so I will be taking the class, so I have to come to the office. Normally I'll be available in the office, okay, but same class I can take in another format also, okay. During the class time alone, I'll come, I'll take the class, then I'll go to other home. Then I may go to home or I may do some other job, okay. Which means, I'm a freelancer, okay. The freelancing is called as a gig economy. That's different, okay. That's different. Splintering is different, okay. They both are. Splintering means you are saying the jobs which are once the part of the manufacturing will get segregated, will become the part of service sector, okay. That is called as outsourcing. Now last point you write, lack of economic growth. Lack of economic growth. Lack of economic growth. Now, what is the meaning of this point? Now, you know that this is a very simple point, direct point. So you can have more employment only when you have the business. For example, when you have the more business, you will be employing more people. When you have the more business, means it's indicated by the economic growth of your company. Same angle. Secondary sector, when they have the more economic growth, then automatically secondary sector will employ more people. So economic growth is directly proportional to the employment, but secondary sector never it occupied the center stage of the country with respect to economic growth. One point of time agriculture was dominating, now service sector is dominating. So the secondary sector never occupied the center stage. If it had become the center stage, means then the economic growth would have resulted in more employment opportunity. Then it would have normally paved way for the more number of jobs. So reason is why we are unable to create more job means never we had the more than 50% or never we had the higher economic growth in manufacturing. Due to lack of economic growth, we had the considerable decrease in the employment opportunity in the secondary sector. Okay, that is the meaning of this point. Okay, so all the points tells us that why the secondary sector was unable to create more jobs. Okay, so now we have done with these segments. Okay, why India was unable to pick up after 1991, or why the jump happened. Okay, students. Okay, so now we have done up to this. These two slides, students, they are more than enough. Then apart from this, additionally, whatever you read, whatever viewpoint you have, all the points you can write. But the basic thing is, whatever you write, okay, so there is no harm, but you should be able to connect that point with the plot of the question. Okay, that's all. So these are the points what we have. Now we are going to get into the other segment. Okay, now we write the heading as a disinvestment. Next one is called as a disinvestment. Okay, next completely different segment. We are going to learn now disinvestment. Now we have learned about the industrial policies. We learned about the Atmanirbhar Bharat. We learned about the reasons for failing to pick up. Then about the stagnation in the job, employment opportunity. Next we are going to learn about the concept called as disinvestment. What is the meaning of the word disinvestment? Disinvestment is exactly opposite to the word investment. That's all. Okay. Investment means when you put 100 rupees in a business, so we call it as an investment. So when you plan to take the 100 rupees back, okay, you may plan to take back the entire 100 rupees. You may plan to take back, or else you may plan to take back only 80 rupees, or else you may plan to take back 60 rupees, or you may plan to take back 40 or 20 or 10, whatever. Okay, so you are trying to disinvest. Okay, opposite is called as a disinvestment. So when you do, what will happen? For example, here, okay, initially you made the investment of 100 rupees, then you became the owner. So what is the ownership? Okay, you are the owner for 100% because you made 100 rupees investment. You are the owner for 100%. So now when you plan to disinvest some here 40%, 20%, 10%. Now when you plan to disinvest 10%, then you lose your ownership for 10%. When you plan to take back your ownership, when you plan to take back your 20 rupees, what will happen? Some other new player, new partner. So when you plan to take back your 20, then some other person, he will come, he will do, so the share will become like this, 80-20. Earlier it was 100, entire ownership was done by you. But now 80-20 means your ownership will be 80%. Another person has become new owner. He has done the investment of 20. When he does the investment, now you will get the 20%. You can get back the money. So when the money flows in, automatically you can take back the money. So in this angle, okay, so this concept is normally called as a disinvestment. But here we are going to learn about the disinvestment of Government of India, which started taking place after 1991, because until 1991 our government was doing investments in our economy, but after 1991 our government started doing the disinvestment. Okay, so now we are going to learn about the disinvestments of our economy. Now first you write the basic definition for the word disinvestment. It is a process of diluting the ownership. It is a process of diluting the ownership. It is called as disinvestment. It is a process of diluting the ownership, that is known as disinvestment. Disinvestment is normally is of two types. Disinvestment we have under two categories. First one is, it is a process of diluting the ownership. That is the meaning of disinvestment. Then disinvestment is of two types. If you taken down, then copy the next slide. disinvestment is of two types. What are the two types means? The first type we call it by the name called as a token disinvestment. Second type we call it by the name called as a strategic disinvestment. These are the two types. First one is called as a token. Second one is called as a strategic disinvestment. What is the meaning? What is the meaning for the word token? What is the meaning for the word strategic? Now let me explain both. There are two types. One is called as a token. Second one is called a strategic. What is the meaning? Now, in token disinvestment, when you plan to disinvest, okay, disinvest means, or what is the maximum level of disinvestment you will do is, you will try to disinvest only up to 49%, which means the balance 51% will be retained by the government. So, government will sell maximum. Government will sell maximum of 49. It's not a minimum. Maximum of 49, that is called as a token. Balance 51% will be retained by the government. That concept is called as a token disinvestment. That's the point number one. You're right. In token, my government will do disinvestment of maximum of 49%. Balance 51% is retained by the government. Okay, government will retain 51%. Now comes the next doubt. Okay, why the government is doing like this? Because government thinks that some areas are very crucial to the economy, or some areas are very important to the government. So I need money, so I am disinvesting, but I won't dilute my entire stake. So I will be having the majority ownership, which means here government is disinvesting, but how much government is disinvesting? Only up to 49, which means balance 51% is retained by the government, which means government will retain the majority stake in the company. So as a result, when how you will call the company? Even after the disinvestment process, the company will be called as a government owned company after disinvestment. Because what is the definition for the word PSU? PSU means it is called as a public sector undertaking. PSU is the company where the government ownership is more than 50%. It doesn't mean that government ownership should be 100%, more than 50. So when you undertake this type of disinvestment, the company will be still referred as a PSU even after disinvestment. That is the next point. Okay. Now we write the second point. So able to get the point. Here you will do only 49. And that also there is a maximum is 49. Sometimes you will do only 5%. Sometimes you will do only 10%. Sometimes you will do only 15. So maximum will be retained by the government. So what is the next point is, in this type, the maximum already you return. Okay. 51 is retained by the government. So how to write means, in this type, the company will be known as PSU. The company will be known as PSU even after the disinvestment process. In this type, the company will be known as PSU even after the disinvestment process. In this type, the company will be known as PSU even after the disinvestment process. In this type, the company will be known as PSU even after the disinvestment process. Okay. In this type, the company will be known as PSU even after the disinvestment process. Now comes the question, where you will do this type of disinvestment activities. Okay. So government will do this type of disinvestment activities in the areas which government considers as more important, or else the areas which government considers strategically important to the country. In those areas, government will carry out this type of disinvestment. Okay. You make it as the next point. Government will do this type of disinvestment. Government will do this type of disinvestment in the strategically important sectors. Government will do this type of disinvestment in the strategically important sectors. Government will do this type of disinvestment in the strategically important sectors. What are strategic and all? So we are going to learn in the coming slides. Okay, in detail we are going to learn. Okay. So 3 points I have told you, students. One is regarding the level up to 49. Second thing, as a result, maximum ownership is retained by the government. So the company will be still called as a PSU. Second point, where we will do this type, we will do in the most important area, or otherwise we call them as a strategic areas. That's the point. 3 points. Now the same 3 points you are going to write here, but in the reverse way. Now you make a guess what may be the points for the strategic disinvestment. So here the minimum disinvestment, minimum, not the maximum. The minimum investment or disinvestment, what you will do is 51%. Minimum you will sell 51%. So when you implement this type, 49% will be the ownership of government. Some new player, he will occupy the majority stake in the company. That's all. So the first point itself will tell you that majority stake got sold by the government. Okay. So in this type, minimum disinvestment is 51%. So what may be the next point? Next point, the point next you can convert them. Okay. What may be the next point? In this type, the company will be called as a private company after the disinvestment process. It won't be called as a PSU. So that you make as the next point. Next point is, it won't be called as a PSU after the disinvestment process. It won't be referred as a PSU after the disinvestment process. It won't be called as a PSU even after the disinvestment process. It won't be called as a PSU even after the disinvestment process. Okay. So here the point is minimum 51. Minimum 51. So I written no. So what is the maximum? Maximum may go up to 100. Completely it may be sold by the government. 100%. Okay. 100%. 51 to 100. Here maximum is 49, which means they may start from 1. It may go to 49. Okay. Here 51 to 100. So the company will be referred as a, will not be referred as a PSU. Now the third point, where you will do this type, you will do this type in the non-strategic sectors. You will do this type in the non-strategic sectors. You will do this type of disinvestment in the non-strategic sectors. You will do this type of disinvestment in the non-strategic sectors. You will do this type of disinvestment in the non-strategic, the areas which are of less importance. Okay, in those areas, you will do this type of disinvestment in the non-strategic sectors. Now comes the next thing. Okay, these things and all we are written. Okay, up to 49. Okay, then minimum 51, maximum goes up to 100. Okay, now write the heading recent policy. What is the recent policy we have? So this policy actually, students, it got changed by the government very often. Okay, now recently, okay, so before 6 months back, okay, we got this policy. This is a recent policy. What is the plan Government of India has got towards disinvestment? Okay, this will give you a picture. Okay, before writing, okay, let me give you a point, give you some points, then you can copy this. Okay, what is the current policy means? Before learning the current policy, you have to know the past policy, which will give you some idea. Okay, what was the past policy means? In the earlier, government was having a disinvestment approach. What was the approach means? Government will not do disinvestment in the profit-making PSU. If they do disinvestment, then profit-making PSU, they will do only token. Token means only up to 49. That is the logic, that is the policy what they had. Okay, but now we have changed it, students. Completely we have changed it. Okay, so what is the concept now? In the profit-making PSU also government will do, and government will do strategic also. So now comes the question: when the government sells all the profit-making like this, okay, then won't the government lose its hold on the economy? Won't the government lose its stake on the economy? Like that we may have a question. For that, government has given this policy. Government has given the answer. What is the answer? For example, take for example, okay, you have the petroleum company. Okay, for example, one example is the BPCL, Bharat Petroleum, or we have the Indian Oil Corporation. We have, okay, when the government is planning to sell the company, it is a profit-making company. It's a Maharatna of India. Okay, what is Maharatna and all? Today we will learn. Okay, it is a profit-making company. So here comes the question: why the government is selling the profit-making? For that, government has made the announcement saying that. So I classify the sectors into two types. One is strategic, one is non-strategic. Non-strategic, government may have its presence or government may not have its presence. Government may sell all the company. But in strategic areas, what the government will do means, if there, imagine that there are 10 companies in strategic sectors. Okay, so the sector is strategic. Government has got the presence of 10 companies. Okay, so all the 10 companies are profit making. According to the old policy, so this is a strategic sector, it's a profit making. So what the government will do? Government can do only token. But the current policy says that, so it is a strategic sector, you have 10 companies, so all the 10 are profit making company. Even after that, what the government may do is, government can have minimum one company in the strategic sector, or government may have a maximum of 4 company in the strategic sector. 1 to 4, 1 is the minimum, 4 is the maximum. More than this, if the government has got means, what the government can do? Government can do the government can do the disinvestment. That also government can do the strategic disinvestment in the strategic sectors. Earlier, government was doing token disinvestment in the strategic sectors. You understand the point very clearly. Earlier, okay, look at the point. So this one. So earlier, government was doing token disinvestment in the important areas or strategic areas. Government was doing strategic disinvestment in the non-strategic areas. But I am able to understand the point. Strategic disinvestment is done only in the less important areas. In important areas or strategic areas, we are doing only the token disinvestment. But now, what is the concept is, we classify the area into strategic, non-strategic. Non-strategic, government is not at all worried about. Government may do anything, okay, non-strategic. In strategic, what the government will do means, government will have a minimum presence of one company, maximum of 4 company. So that's a government choice. More than this, 5 company if we have means, the next 5th company, what the government will do? Government may completely sell the company to the private players. At the time, we cannot question the government. It is a strategic sector. It is a profit-making company. It is a Maharatna company. Why you are selling? Government may come with the answer. Yes, already I have 4 companies in strategic sectors, or I have one company for my stake. I have one company. So that is the policy what we have. This all the points you can write with the help of this slide. Okay. Now you write all the points I have given in the slide. This is the current policy what we have, okay, recent policy. Bare minimum presence of the public sector enterprises and remaining to be privatized or merged or subsidiarized with other CPSCs or will get closed. That's all, okay. Entire content is conveyed in this paragraph itself. Bare minimum presence of the public sector enterprises and remaining to be privatized or merged or subsidiarized with other CPSCs or they will get closed. Okay, so one slide. We got one more slide. Second slide. Recently, students, 6 months back only, this one was announced by the government. Last year, the policy was different. Okay, have you all taken? Okay, next slide. The continuation of the previous slide, you can write. Recent policy. Following 4 sectors to come under strategic category. Purely prelims angle student. Prelims angle, you memorize the 4 sectors. Atomic energy, space and defense. So these are the 4 sectors where the government will have the bare minimum presence, not the maximum presence. And also have a look at the non-strategic sector. In that segment, government will close the business, close its operations. Karthik, token disinvestment can be done above 49%. No, Karthik. Token disinvestment goes above 49, it will become strategic. Then Chandra Mohan give an example. Karthik, okay. Bharat Petroleum, yes, BPCL and all is under Maharatna. Okay, we are trying to do disinvestment, no. And then Karthik, similar to minimum government and maximum, yes, Karthik can take in that sense. Have only maximum 4 sectors. Government can have maximum 4, but under the 4 we have different. No, atomic energy, they are not given 4 as atomic energy 1, space 1, defense 1. So the 3 itself here they have given. Transport and telecommunication, okay. And then power, petroleum, coal and other minerals, banking, insurance and financial services. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, 9 and then 10, like we got many more sectors. And then is this similar to minimum government? That's okay. Then will the government do token disinvestment in retained 4 strategic sector required? Okay. Yes, okay, token can be done. Strategic will not be done, won't be done. Then Ashwin doubt CPSC. CPSC means Central Public Sector Enterprises. Central Public Sector Enterprises, CPSC. Central Public Sector Enterprises. Sivapriya and Ashwin. Central Public Sector Enterprises. SPSC means State Public Sector. What if strategic sector 1 suddenly becomes non-profiting? Strategic sector, we won't mind about the profit or non-profit, because government feels if they are of national importance, then government will support them by recapitalization. You would have heard about in the paper, no, recapitalization. Recapitalization means they will infuse the capital, they try to make them profitable, or else they will run the business for the sake of the country. Okay, they won't mix the profit motives along with the strategic sectors. Chandramohan, what is the reason for disinvesting Air India is the loss? Disinvestment of a PSU and privatization of a Helen. Disinvestment of a PSU and privatization of a PSU, both same or different, okay? Disinvestment is a process what we do to implement privatization. Imagine that, okay, so we are having Air India. Air India is under Government of India control. When we are trying to privatize Air India, what we'll do? We'll use disinvestment as a weapon or as an instrument. Using that, we'll try to privatize, okay, in this sector. Or else, privatization is a broader concept. For example, in the sectors where the privates are allowed to open a new company, it is also a privatization. Able to get the point? For example, when the private companies, you can go and start a new separate airways. It is a privatization. You are giving the more space. In a government company, when you are selling your stake, it is also called as a privatization. Okay, 2 angles you can understand. Is it okay, Helen? Okay, fine. Okay, so then I'll go with the remaining things. So this is about the recent policy. Okay, now next one, write the heading, NIF, National Investment Fund. NIF, National Investment Fund. So what is the meaning of the fund? Means this fund was established by the Government of India on 2005. So we have created this fund on 2005. Why? What is the purpose of this fund? Whatever, because in the public finance class, in the budget class, you would have learned that, okay, there are two types of receipts, okay. One is called as one is called as a revenue, one is called as a capital, okay, like that you would have covered. Then in capital, there are 2 types, okay. So normally we say 2 types of receipts, and then within the capital, there are 2 categories. One is called as a debt capital receipts, and then one more is called as a non-debt. So or else in the words of Shankar Ganesh's book, okay, you would have come across repayable and then non-repayable, okay. So 2 angles we differentiate. Now, what is the debt means? It is the money what we generate by selling the assets, everything. Non-debt means, okay, it is not by the selling the assets, okay. The common example is the disinvestment or recovery of loan. Everything we call them as under the category non-debt, okay. Now, when you do disinvestment, then whatever money you generate out of disinvestment, it gets categorized as a non-debt capital receipt for the country. So in this angle, you used to categorize them as a non-debt. But when the money comes as a non-debt, where you will keep the money, okay? Whether you will mix the money with the entire receipt. For example, this money and this money, all the money, whether you will club together, or you will keep this money alone separate, okay? This money will not be clubbed with the debt or will not be clubbed with the revenue receipts. You will keep this money separately in account, that account is called as a NIF, okay? National Investment Fund. What is National Investment Fund? It is the account where this disinvestment proceeds, which are categorized as non-debt capital receipts. So the proceeds of the disinvestment gets credited in this account. This account is called as NIF. What is NIF? Expansion for the NIF goes like this. National Investment Fund. So the expansion for the NIF goes like this. So NIF means National Investment Fund. So what is NIF? The fund was created on 2005. So what is the purpose? Whenever you generate money out of disinvestment, the disinvestment proceeds gets credited into this account. This account is called as NIF. That's all, okay? Disinvestment proceeds get credited into this account. This account is known as NIF. Now, this money gets into NIF. Where we have this NIF account? Because you know that there are three accounts in public finance. One is called as the Consolidated Fund of India. One is called as the Public Accounts of India. Third is called as the Contingency Fund of India. Okay, this is the general account, broader account, Consolidated Fund of India. This is the account for which government is the guardian. This is the account for which government is the custodian. Third is for the emergency. Okay, it's called the Contingency Fund of India. Now, this NIF is categorized as the non-debt capital receipts, and this NIF does not come under this account, okay? It comes under the public accounts of India. In public accounts of India, there is a category called as NIF. Under the NIF, you credit the proceeds of disinvestment, okay? That is the method what you follow, okay? So NIF account is called as a National Investment Fund. This National Investment Fund operates as a separate account under the public accounts of India. Okay, it's not under the Consolidated Fund of India. It operates separately under the public accounts of India. Okay. Now comes the question. Okay. So now these things are all very clear. No. For example, under the public finance, this money, disinvestment money, it is called as a non-debt capital receipts. These non-debt capital receipts are maintained in a separate account. That account is known as NIF. This NIF account comes under the public accounts of India. These are the things which I have mentioned till now. Now, who is the guardian? Who is the guardian for the NIF? Because NIF, this public accounts of India government is a guardian. Then within the public accounts of India, you got the small savings account, like that many more accounts are there. But here we have the NIF. For NIF, who is the custodian? Who is the guardian? Who maintains the proceeds of disinvestment? Means NIF proceeds are maintained by the body called as the DPAM. DPAM acts as the custodian of NIF. So the custodian of NIF is DPAM. What is DPAM? DPAM is called as the Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. The expansion and all given in the next slide. Okay. Now kindly listen, then you can write. For example, when the government sells the company, the money what the government generates is called as the disinvestment proceeds. This disinvestment proceeds gets credited in this account. This account is maintained under the public accounts of India. Then under the public accounts of India, we have an account called as NIF. These NIF funds are completely managed by the DPAM. So what is DPAM? DPAM, we call the DPAM as a custodian, guardian. For example, in NIF, we have some 100 crore rupees, or we have 100 rupees we have. This 100 rupees is under the custody of DPAM. DPAM means Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. What is the role? What is the function of DPAM is? DPAM will not let the money to stay idle in the account. Okay, they will not let the money to stay idle in the account. When the money is not asked by the government, when the money is not required by the government, what they will do means they will try to multiply the money. How we do with our own money? For example, when we have some money, we think that we don't need the money for next 3 months. What we can do? We can keep it for 3 months fixed deposit. So we'll get more interest rate than the savings account. So, or else we can invest in shares, or we can buy some bonds in the same angle. What they do means when the money stays idle, what they will do means they will try to multiply the money. So they will function like a mutual fund company. Mutual fund company, how they try to multiply your investment, same angle. They try to multiply the money. So they act as the guardian. Now, when the government asks the money, then what the DPAM will do is, DPAM will transfer the money from NIF to the government of India. Now, here comes the question. When the government will ask money from the DPAM, on what basis they will ask from government? What is the rationale? What is the logic? How they will ask? Now and then they will ask, or whether there is any procedure, any formalities. So here, the government of India or the Ministry of Finance, they will ask DPAM to release the funds based on the recommendation of a body called as Department of Economic Affairs. So what is the concept? We have Department of Economic Affairs. Department of Economic Affairs will tell the government, we have got 100 rupees in the DIPAM, in the NIF account. This 100 rupees can be used by the government for this purpose in the economy. Because you have made some disinvestment, you got some money, this money is maintained in a separate account. You can take the money, you can utilize this for this purpose. What are the examples for the purpose? For example, when the government plans to build some metro projects in our economy, or government when they are trying to recapitalize, the NABARD, or recapitalize public sector banks in the economy, or any larger capital expenditure projects in the economy, for those they will tell the government, you got this much money, why can't you use those money? Like that, Department of Economic Affairs, they will tell the government how to utilize the disinvestment proceeds. So two things I told you. One is DIPAM act as the custodian. Then what the economic affairs they do? They tell the government what to do with the disinvestment money. Now comes the role of third body. What is third body? Third body is called as Niti Ayog. What Niti Ayog is doing? Niti Ayog, they guide the government. They tell the government which companies can be disinvested. Now you look at the plot. Niti Ayog tell the government which companies can be disinvested. Once the government carries out the disinvestment process, then the money will come to NIF. So NIF money will be under the custody of DIPAM. Now DIPAM will release the money to the government of India based on the recommendation of Department of Economic Affairs, because they tell the government how to utilize the money for different investments in the economy. These are the three different roles played by the three different bodies in the economy. DIPAM is the custodian. DIPAM also comes under the Ministry of Finance, and then you know that under the Ministry of Finance we have different departments. One is Department of Revenue, Department of Expenditure, Department of Economic Affairs, then DIPAM. Okay, so it is within the ministry. Okay, it is the interministerial operation. Okay, one department is acting as a custodian. One department is telling the government what to do with the money. The Niti Ayog separately is telling the government which companies can be disinvested for the welfare of the government as well as for the welfare of the country. Okay, so these are the areas around this concept. Now we can copy the points with the help of the slide. Now we write NIF comes under DIPAM. Lalit Kumar, in those four sectors, token disinvestment alone is done. Yes, Lalit, you are right. In the strategic sectors, government will do only token disinvestment. And it is also not mandatory. Government will do token. Many times government may not do token also. That is government's choice. Then Akash, whether government promoting to disinvest atomic, as of now, we are not having the plans. But when we do those, what we will do, because it is reserved, no? Reserved. Now only we release some PPP model for 3 areas only. So we have not de-reserved it. When you de-reserve only, then we come for the concept of disinvestment. Sri Lakshmi, only the disinvestment proceeds are maintained in their account or any non-debt making receipts. Okay. No, the recovery of loan, other things under, because non-debt receipts are of different types. One is disinvestment, one is recovery of loan, then one is sale of assets. So, for example, in the budget also you would have heard about National Asset Monetization Pipeline. Okay, you would have heard in the budget. National Asset Monetization Pipeline and all. Same angle, these are the non-debt. Okay, it won't be clubbed with the NIF. NIF is a separate process, separate account. Okay, Sri Lakshmi, it's a separate thing. We don't mix it. Can we call DIPAM as Ministry of Chandra Mohan? Ministry of Disinvestment was the old name. So because earlier we had the disinvestment commission, then we had the disinvestment ministry then we had disinvestment department. Now we have the disinvestment department has become as a department within the Ministry of Finance. So earlier we called as a Department of Disinvestment, but now we call them as a Department of Investment. Okay, I think the name got changed on 2017, I think so. I don't remember the exact year. 17 or 18 or 16 during the time only. The old name was called as Disinvestment Department. Okay. The ministry, Disinvestment Ministry we had, I think during 2004-5, during the time only we had. Then later on ministry got dissolved. Now we don't have any separate ministry for disinvestment. Disinvestment operates under the finance ministry only. But we had a separate department called as a disinvestment department. But disinvestment department got changed as the Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, simply called as DIPAM. So the DIPAM is the new name for disinvestment department. Helen, what is the logic of government behind disinvestment? When it is known that private sector mainly focuses only on profit than welfare, okay? There are certain logic, Helen. One logic is government has to focus on many areas. Because after 1991, we have let the privates to operate in the areas which can be operated by the privates. Because the government's job is to not to do business in the economy. So the certain businesses can be done by the private itself. We can leave them to the private. That's one angle. So that government burden will get lessened. Second aspect is government has to focus more on social infrastructure for building the schools and hospitals. So government needs lakhs and lakhs of crores of rupee. So to get those funds, government what they will do means the earlier investments, what they have done. So in the areas which are not required, they will disinvest, they will utilize the proceeds for making the further investments. That is one more dimension. Third dimension is some loss-making companies. So it's acting as a burden on the government's shoulder. So government is actually spending more expenditure on the paying the salary and then running the company just for name's sake. Okay, so it is not strategically important. Also, it is not profitable. Also, those companies we are trying to transfer to the privates. Those who are interested, or else we will wind up the company. Okay, in this angle, we are trying to reduce the financial burden on the government. So one is the reduce the financial burden. Second one is to throw away the loss-making company. Third angle to generate some capital for doing investments in the other areas, social infrastructure. So these are the things. And one more point is also a very important point for disinvestment. Okay, what does that point means? Imagine disinvestment should not be always approached as 100%. It may be 30 or maybe 40, maybe 50. For example, imagine I'm running my own company. Okay, I'm the 100% owner. Now, when I plan to sell some 25% ownership, then a new partner may come in. He may join with me. When he joins, he not only comes with the money, he also comes with his ideas. He also comes with his technology. So when the government does this disinvestment, it opens the wide range of opportunities to the government, because a new player is joining with the government. It may enable to increase the efficiency of the company. So these are the multiple objectives behind the disinvestment. Okay, Helen? And students, I think we have forgotten to give break. Okay, break, what is your opinion? You need break, or shall I proceed? I completely forgot to give break. What is your break? Nilar Jyoti, okay, no, says no. Helen, no, break. Shall I proceed? Students, regarding the break. No, proceed, break. Only one student has asked break. Yes, many of you are asking me to, okay, Akshaya, give us 3 minutes break. Proceed. And some students asking break, okay, and proceed, okay. Only 3-4 students have asked for break. Okay, students, I'll give you 2 minutes break alone. Okay, so 2 minutes. So relax, 2 or 3 minutes break I'll give you. So relax, then I'll be staying here. Okay, take a break and then come back. Refresh your mind. 3 minutes. Take some water. Okay, have some water and all. You come back. மற்ற கிளாஸ் ரூம் முடிஞ்சா ஸ்ரீராம் கிளாஸ் முடிஞ்சு 8 மணிக்கு முடிஞ்சு. Sri Lakshmi, what exactly is the difference between the functions of Niti Aayog and Department of Economic Affairs here? Niti Aayog, what they do, Sri Lakshmi, is Niti Aayog, they tell the government, for example, imagine that we have some 5 companies in the economy. Okay, now Niti Aayog will tell the government, among the 5, this company can be disinvested. This company can be disinvested, and here also what percentage can be disinvested. Like that, Niti Aayog tell the government the companies and then percentage up to which disinvestment can be carried out by the government. Okay, So it is the role of Niti Aayog. They tell the government, okay, do this, do on second company, do on fourth company. They'll identify the company, they'll tell the percentage. Now, what is the role of the Department of Economic Affairs? So here, Niti Aayog will tell the government where to do disinvestment, where. Okay, where to disinvest. That is the role of Niti Aayog. Now, what the government will do? Government will disinvest. Then government will get the money. Then money will come to NIF. And then this NIF, once the money comes into NIF, Deepam act as the custodian. Then under the money will be given to Deepam. Deepam act as the fund manager. Okay. Then Deepam has got some 1,000 rupees in this account. Now, Department of Economic Affairs will tell the government, Deepam has got 1,000 rupees. So, government can get 300 rupees from this 1,000. These 300 rupees can be received by the government and this can be spent by the government for building metro projects in the economy. Okay. So, what the government will do? Oh, Economic Affairs has conveyed that to utilize the money for metro projects. So, government will ask the money to Deepam. Then Deepam will release the money to the government based on the recommendation. So, what the Economic Affairs is doing? Economic Affairs is suggesting the government for utilizing the proceeds. Proceeds means utilizing this money, disinvestment proceeds. I think Sri Lakshmi should be clear by this time. Spending and all, Vinisha, it comes under the Department of Expenditure. Okay, through them the funds get routed to the appropriate ministry. Yes, it's fine, Sri Lakshmi. Okay. Network issues, so I could not hear. That's why I asked. Yes, fine. I can understand. And Vinisha, okay, so, expenditure and all, okay, because receipts through Department of Revenue, expenditures channelized through Department of Expenditure, and then goes to the different ministries. That is a normal route what we have, no? What is the benefit of bare minimum policy for government? Minimum policy is the concept of having the minimum presence in the areas where the government should have the minimum hold or minimum stake, bare minimum presence. And then maximum is not required. That is the angle they are trying to convey. Disinvestment on LIC, but disinvestment on LIC, it's not recently mooted, Radhakrishnan, because we have this talk going on for last 8 or 9 years we have, because Niti Aayog has made the entry recently only, but before that only we have this idea coming in our paper. People, because since 1999, no, when the IRDA, okay, Insurance Regulatory Development Act of India got passed, okay, from then on, private insurers were claiming that all the companies are private, only LIC is acting as the government company. So when we are trying to do business in the market, people are not willing to join our company because they think LIC as a government, not only government company, they think as if joining LIC is like taking policy from the government of India. So they are having confidence only with the LIC. So really we are finding very difficult to penetrate the market. So moreover, when you go to rural side and all, okay, even now, okay, rural semi-urban, the people they won't call as insurance policy. They will say as LIC policy. So in that way, insurance, the word insurance got replaced with the term LIC. So that is the dominance of LIC. So many private players, they are saying that government, please you take the back seat, okay? Because it is not a even space for the private players. You are letting us to operate, but you are not, you are also occupying. So people, it's very difficult for us to penetrate the business. That's the request, okay? So it is not mooted by the Niti Aayog. The question is whether the LIC is given by the Niti Aayog means no. We have this for last 8 or 9 years, and even from 2004, okay, at the time itself, many companies like ICICI, HDFC, when they are doing business, Reliance, when they enter into the market during 8, 9, so at that time, they were also claiming that government's hold should be considerably reduced, okay. So it's not the call of Niti Aayog. So that's answer to your question. We are back. Okay, yes, fine. Okay. Thank you, students. Fees that is collected annually from IIT, JEE, any NEET exams, and also UPSC is adequate enough to 15 IITs and 20 within a year, sir, after exam. Chandramohan, okay, going different route, okay. Radhakrishnan, thank you, Radhakrishnan, okay. Okay. The disinvestment LIC is also Radhakrishnan is given. Sri Lakshmi understood fine. Vinisha, Department of Economic Affairs answer. What is the benefit of bare minimum? Difference between consolidated fund and... that Akash, you kindly refer your public finance, then it will consume our time. If we got... because as in one line I will give the brief because it is a subject matter of public finance in core economics. Consolidated fund is the broad account of public finance where you maintain all the receipts received by the government of India. So that is called Consolidated Fund of India. Public accounts is account for which government of India is the custodian. Which means, imagine that, let me give an example, okay. Now, I have some 1,000 rupees in my hands, okay. So, if you ask me 1,000 rupees, how much money I have, I'll tell you, I got 1,000 rupee, okay. But when you ask me how you got 1,000 rupee, I'll tell you that 1,000 rupees, the 800 rupees is my money, 200 rupees is my friend's money. He asked me to keep this 200 rupee. He told that he will come and get back the money at any time later, okay. Which means, when you ask me how much money I have, I will tell you the answer 1,000 rupee. But what is my own money? My own money is 800 rupee. So, but what is the balance 200? 200 is the money what I have, but it's not my money. Which means for 200 I am the custodian, I am the guardian. My friend when he come and ask the money, I should give him back, okay. But okay, when he is not asking the money, till then the money will be under my custody, okay. So that is the concept. So what the government will do means out of the 1,000, 800 rupees will be kept under the Consolidated Fund of India, 200 for which government is the custodian, okay. For example, our PF money or our national small savings certificate or this disinvestment proceeds. Disinvestment proceeds earlier, government considered it as a money which is under with the government, but the money does not belong to the government in that angle, okay. So they kept it under the public accounts of India. So in that angle, they maintain this public account for which the government is the custodian or government is the guardian, okay. But Consolidated Fund of India is the money which government takes it as the own money. It is my money. It is my income. Okay. Own money means doesn't mean that it is all the income. Own money means it may be my money. For example, I told you, I had 1,000 rupee. I told you that I had 1,000 rupee. Out of the 1,000, 800 rupees is my money. And 200 rupees is my friend's money, which means it is not my money, I am the guardian, I am the custodian. But within the 800 rupees also, it does not mean that all the 800 rupees is my income, okay. Out of 800, 500 rupees may be my income, 300 rupees may be the money which I borrowed from someone. But even though I borrowed from someone, this 300 rupees is my money, okay, because I borrowed for 1 year. So till 1 year it is my money. Doesn't mean that it is my entire money is my income. So in the angle, which means this one is revenue receipt, this one is the capital receipt, okay, in that perspective, okay. So you kindly refer your core economics notes, you will get better understanding, okay. So now let's get into the class, okay. So Chandramohan doubt, I think Chandramohan alone I have to take separate class, okay. Why government is disinvesting its golden eggs, okay. Disinvesting golden eggs is like, that's a perspective what we have. So that is the negative point what you can write, Chandramohan, for when the question is asked in the mains examination, what are the pros and cons of disinvestment? For example, Helen has asked a doubt, sir, why we are doing disinvestment? What is the rationale, okay? The point what I told, it brings efficiency, it gives some money to the government, they are the pros, okay? When you write the negatives, cons of disinvestment, okay, the same point you can write, okay, because even in the, when you write the mains examination, you can write, it is the one-time revenue for the government, but it is like cutting the golden eggs, okay, it's like the golden goose you are cutting, because golden goose is laying the egg every egg one day. Why can't I cut the goose? I can get the entire egg. In that angle, government may do. So in that angle, you can write as a criticism as a cons, okay. So the answer is, so it is a negative. It is a negative for the disinvestment, okay. Okay, so NIF we have done. Next one. Next, okay, so we are done with the disinvestment. Now let's go with the IIP, okay. Now write the heading IIP. Now write the heading as IIP. IIP is very simple, students. IIP means Index of Industrial Production. IIP means Index of Industrial Production. IIP means Index of Industrial Production. So what is this means? It is an average. Index of Industrial Production. It is an average. Okay, index of industrial production. Let me explain, then you can know things we have in the slide. Okay, what is this? Is an expansionist index of industrial production. For example, you all know about the India's economic growth is measured through the GDP data for economy, where we measure the output of primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector. Everything we release once in a year or once in a quarter. But in IAP data, we don't accumulate the output of all the three sectors. We bring in, we aggregate the output of only three areas. What are three areas? So in mining, what is the output? Then in manufacturing, what is the output? Mining, what is the output? In manufacturing, what is the output? Then in electricity, what is the output? So we combine the output of all these three areas, and then every month after month, we release as a data. That data is called as IAP. So what is the difference between the India's normal GVA or GDP data? Means it is released once in a year or once in a quarter. So there we release the data for all the three sectors. But here agriculture is not included, service sector is not included. Here we bring the composition of only mining, manufacturing and electricity, and release on a month after month basis, and this data is released by the NSO, National Statistical Organization. Okay, this is about the IAP. So by NSO, index of industrial production, mining, manufacturing and electricity are the three components under the IAP data, and this indicates the direction of trend of Indian industries. This indicates, for example, when data is positive, we can understand that yes, our industry is moving forward, okay? Or else when the data is negative, we can understand that yes, industries are moving backward, or the growth is going backward. So it gives an idea about the progress of our Indian industries. Okay, it gives an idea about the progress of Indian industries. Okay, so IAP is a monthly average, and moreover, this data is a weighted average. Okay, so this indicator is a weighted average. You all know about the, mathematically know the meaning of the word weighted average. Weighted average means different weightage is weights are assigned to the different components. So it's a weighted average. And then prelims angle. Next slide, I have prepared the next slide with respect to prelims angle. Okay, now we can write, okay, it is a weighted average, but within the weighted average, core industries, they got the weightage of 40.27%. It's a weighted average, and core industries, it's a weighted average, and then the weightage of core industries alone 40.27, which means the overall weightage is 100. Out of 100, core industries alone occupy 40.27%. And what are the different weightages of different core industries? Pure factual slide, student. What is the importance of the slide means? Refinery product has got maximum weightage, that is the interpretation. Then this one is the minimum. So two things you have in your mind. Minimum weightage is given to fertilizers. Maximum is given to refinery products. How or why this difference in weightage means? Based on the role played by them in the economy, different weightages are assigned to them. Based on their economic role, we provide different weightages to the different industries in our economy. This is about the IAP data. So normally when you read the paper, you may come across IAP data, which gives an indication of the trend of industrial growth, or whether the sector is booming. All the information, all sort of those things we may able to interpret from the IAP data. This slide is about the prelims based. Okay, so if they ask about the weightages, these things and all, this slide will help you. This kindly memorize, students. Memorize means, memorize the 8 and then don't remember all the values and all, need not memorize. So the refinery got 28 in that angle. Then fertilizers 2.6 or 2 in that angle you remember. Then the first 4 you remember, you can remember. Order, okay, ascending order, descending order they may ask. So based on the weightages, ascending order, descending order, okay, numbers need not remember, but order try to remember. Okay, prelims angle. They won't ask the decimals and all, but the order try to remember. Okay. Okay, have you all copied? Helen copied, Nilal Jyoti copied. Done? Finish. Akshaya copied, fine. Karthik copied. Radhakrishnan, Nishant copied, fine. Yes, Magesh copied. And the student, the name is not here. Yes, Nilal Jyoti copied, fine. Okay. Next one is PSU, right? Okay, today's class we'll be finishing with this heading. Okay, PSU. PSU, public sector undertakings. Public sector undertakings. Okay, PSU. And then students, regarding the pace of my class, whether the pace is okay or you want me to increase, because I think you want me to ask you to decrease, you won't say, because I think I have lessened my speed to considerable level after the online classes. Okay, I reduced it, because earlier I think maybe konjam speed ah sollirupen, ipo korachirken. So is it okay or you want me to increase the speed regarding the pace? Same, no? Fine, maintain the same. Okay, got the feedback. Maintain the speed. Speed is normal. Fine. Okay, students. Thank you. Okay. So because I wanted to get this opinion. Okay, now PSU. What is the PSU? Now PSU means we all know any company when the government ownership is more than 50%, we call them as a PSU. Okay, public sector undertakings. Okay, that is a common that's a common meaning. Okay. Now we write when the government ownership is more than 50%. When the government ownership is more than 50%, when the government ownership is more than 50%, when the government ownership is more than 50%, okay, then it is known as PSU. Public sector, when the government ownership is more than 50% in any company, then we call it as a PSU. Then this is a common PSU, okay. But within the PSU, there are three types. Technically, we can classify them into three types that we are going to learn now, okay. So simple angle, when the government ownership is more than 50, we call them as a PSU. But within the PSU, we can observe three types of PSUs are there, okay. What are they? One type, we call them by the name called as a departmental undertakings, okay. That is a one way. Second type of PSUs are called as the statutory bodies. It is second type of PSU. Then there is a third type, we call them as a government-owned company, okay. Within the government-owned company, there may be a central sector, a central public sector or state public sector. Like that, we may have differences, okay. So these are the normal type, okay. Apart from this also, we have certain autonomous bodies also. But autonomous bodies, they are not doing commercial function. I am going to explain only the commercial entities, okay. So, commercial angle, okay, there are three different PSUs, okay. Kindly copy all the three, then I'll explain one by one, okay. Departmental undertakings, statutory bodies, and government-owned companies, okay. These are the three different types what we have. Okay, so today's class, we'll finish the class by learning about these three. Okay, so departmental undertaking, statutory bodies, and government-owned company. Three things, okay. Now let me explain all three, or else one by one I'll explain the dictate notes, okay, and simultaneously, okay. Now what is the meaning of the word? Now you'll understand all the three, okay, one by one only, okay. So now let me start with the first one, okay. What is meant by department undertaking? Before getting into the department undertaking, you have the idea in your mind. Here we are learning about the entities which are oriented in a commercial manner, okay. Non-commercial things and all we are not bringing here, we are not understanding about them, okay? Because government department means we have got multiple government departments which are doing the governance role or administration role. We are not talking about them. We are learning only about the government departments which are directly involved in running a business in our country, okay? So what is the definition for the first type? So departmental undertakings are the government departments which are directly running a commercial business in the country. So here, unlike the company, those they will not be called as a company or company mari solla mudiyadhu. So we call them as a department, but government department directly will be involved in a business. Any example is popping on your mind? For example, Indian Railways. How do we call them? Indian Railways is operated under the Railways Department, okay, under the Ministry of Railways. And then Postal Department. Postal Department, we cannot call them as India's postal company, okay. A postal department directly doing the postal business. So these are the commercial activities, but they are directly coming under the departments. These type are the examples for the departmental undertaking. Now write the notes for the first one. When a government department is directly involved in running a commercial business, when a government department is directly involved in running a commercial business, when a government department is directly involved in running a commercial business, when a government department is directly involved in running a commercial business, then they are known as departmental undertakings. When a government department is directly involved in running a business, then they are known as departmental undertaking. The staffs are known as government staffs. The staffs are known as government staffs. The staffs are known as government staffs. The accounts are, the staffs are known as government staffs. The accounts, so they will be having their own accounts, no? The accounts are directly audited by the CAG. CAG by himself, he will directly do the auditing. So that is the next point. The accounts are directly audited by the CAG himself. The accounts are directly audited by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So the accounts are directly audited by the CAG. Okay, so it's about the departmental undertaking. Okay, example, Postal Department, Indian Railway Department, undertaken right. Okay, India Post, Indian Railways, example for the departmental undertaking. India Post, Indian Railways, you can write them as an example for departmental undertaking, which means a department is doing the business directly in our economy. Okay, it is not about the other non-commercial department, we are not talking about them. Okay, only about the commercial dimension. Next one is the statutory body. So in the polity class, you all would have learned what is a statutory body and all. A body which has got which got established after passing a special act in law. Okay, so after passing a special law in the parliament, special act in the parliament, that is called a statutory body. So when you look at the statutory body, behind each and every statutory body, there may be a law. So what is the point? Why we are passing the law? They are governed by the particular law. Common law will not be applicable on them. Based on the special law, they are guided by them. What is the posting? What is the salary? So what is the perks? What is the allowances? All of the promotion? So what task they do in the economy? Everything is mentioned in that particular act. What is the objective, purpose, everything. So that is the meaning of the word statutory body. Now write the statutory body. These are the bodies which are established. These are the bodies which are established after passing a special act in the parliament. These are the bodies which are established after passing a special act in the parliament. These are the bodies which are established after passing a special act in the parliament. These are the bodies which are established after passing a special act in the parliament. These are the bodies which are established after passing a special act in the parliament. Okay, so these are the bodies which are established after passing a special act in the parliament. Example, IDBA Act of 1964, IDBA Act of 1964, LIC Act of 1956, LIC Act of 1956. Here I am not mentioning the RBA Act of 1934, SEBI Act of 1992. I am not mentioning them because They are also statutory bodies, but they are doing the for the governance purpose, for the regulation purpose. Okay, I have not brought them. Okay, so only the commercial angle. Okay, IDBI and the LIC Act of India. So they are guided by the special provisions of the Act. LIC Act of 1956, then IDBI Act of 1964. So like that you can mention FCA, Food Corporation of India, FCA Act of 1964, FCA Act of 1964. So like that, okay, so we have the certain bodies established by the government to serve certain purpose in the economy, okay. Now, the accounts, who do the auditing means CAG, he directly will not do the auditing. CAG, he will appoint the auditors. So CAG appointed auditors, they will do the auditing of these statutory bodies, okay. Now you can write the point. CAG appointed auditors. CAG appointed auditors will do the auditing of these companies. CAG appointed auditors will do the auditing of these companies. CAG appointed auditors will do the auditing of these companies. And then, how the staffs are appointed, how the staffs, earlier for department, so how they will be appointed means through the normal Union Public Service Commission and then State Public Service Commission, the staffs are appointed, okay, not departments, okay. But for the statutory bodies and then for the government-owned company, how the staffs are appointed means we have a central level body, recruitment body called as a Public Sector Enterprises Selection Board. Recently came in news also, no, I think in the paper you all would have heard, okay, because recently I think Mallika Srinivasan, okay, she is appointed as the chairman of the PSB board, okay, the first private person, okay, which means not from the government side, okay, so he is appointed as a chairperson, okay, so she was working in the TAFE, tractor and farm equipments manufacturer, so he is appointed as a chairman. So the same PSB, okay, so recently, okay, I think 1 or 2 days back, okay, came in the paper. So what is a PSB means? Now write the point. The staffs are appointed through the Public Sector Enterprises Selection Board, PSB. The staffs are appointed through the Public Sector or simply Public Enterprises, you can write. The staffs are appointed through the Public Enterprises Selection Board, Public Sector Enterprises Selection Board. The staffs are appointed through the Public Sector Enterprises Selection Board. Okay, which comes under the Ministry of Personnel and Training. Okay, so this comes under the Ministry of Personnel and Training. So what is the expansion is the staffs are appointed through the Public Sector Enterprises Selection Board, or shortly called as a Public Enterprises Selection Board. Now the last one, government owned company. Okay, now write the last one. What are the government owned companies? Okay, now what is Airtel? Airtel, we all know it is a company owned by the Sunil Mittal. Okay, what is Reliance? Okay, Reliance company owned by the Ambani brothers. Okay, what is Tata? Okay, by the Tata group. Okay, then the Aditya Birla. Okay, by the Birla group. So we all know that these are the companies run by the private players. Then what is NTPC? What is the Bharat Heavy Electricals? What is Coal India? What is the Steel Authority of India? What is Indian Oil Corporation? Okay. What is the Bharat Petroleum? What is Hindustan Petroleum? What are they? They are also company. But who is the owner? We don't have any single person. Who is the owner? Government is the owner. So government-owned companies are the normal commercial companies established under the Companies Act of India, but the ownership is held by the government. That's all. May be held by the government of India or may be held by the state governments. Okay, central public sector enterprises or state public sector enterprises. Okay, so that is the meaning of the word government-owned companies. So now write the point. These are the commercial companies. These are the commercial companies. These are the commercial companies established under the Company Act of India. These are the commercial companies established under the Companies Act of India. These are the commercial companies established under the Companies Act of India. In which the majority ownership is held by the government. in which the majority ownership is held by the government. In which the majority ownership is held by the government. Then the second and third point are similar to the statutory body. Second and third statutory body marida. The points are similar. What are the points? The staffs are appointed through the PESB. Same point, right? Staffs are appointed through the PESB. Staffs are appointed through the PESB. The next thing, staffs are appointed through the PESB. Accounts are audited by the CAG appointed auditors. Staffs are appointed through the PESB. Accounts are audited by the CAG appointed auditors. Accounts are audited by the CAG appointed auditors. The last point, example. Example for the government-owned company, you can write BEL, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited. Okay. Then you can write National Thermal Power Corporation. Okay, or Coal India. So more about this company and all we'll learn in the next class. Next class I think we got on Wednesday, I think so. So we'll be learning about these things and all. So Coal India, Bharat Petroleum, okay, Indian Oil Corporation, GAIL, SAIL, any two companies or three companies you can write, okay. GAIL, SAIL, Naval Lignite Corporation, whatever maybe, okay. We got the plenty of companies under this segment, okay, government-owned company, okay. All these companies, we would have heard about Maharatna company Kelly Patrupom, Navaratna company Kelly Patrupom, okay. All those come under only this category, okay. Government-owned company, okay. So these are the normal things, okay. Now, these are the normal points regarding these three things, okay. With this, let's finish today's class. Remaining things, let's see on next class. On Wednesday, we got the class schedule. We'll learn about those things, okay. I think I addressed most of your doubts. If any pending doubt, I'll answer the pending doubts now. Remaining things and all, okay. So, remaining students, the class got over, okay. So now, Vinisha, government-owned companies also called as a PSU. Yes, government-owned companies only called as a PSU, Vinisha, when the government ownership is more than 50%. Soundarya, Sukumar, thank you. Helen, thank you. Saravanan, IAP slide once. I think Saravanan, you should be asking for this. Nilal Jyoti, good night. Thank you. Okay, fine. Fine. Then Magesh, thank you, Magesh, thank you. Helen, good night, thank you. Maharatna is Maharatna explanation next class. Maharatna explanation next class. Who asked? Sivapriya, yes, Maharatna. See here, we have the next thing, no? See, next class I will tell you about these things. Okay, Sivapriya. Karthik, thank you, Karthik, thank you, good night. Cut pannidanga. Students number doubt address pannirken. Cut pannidanga. Okay. Nishant, thank you, Nishant. Saravanan. Previous slide. Yes, copy Saravanan. Saravanan. Akshaya, thank you. Karan, thank you. Bye, Karan. Vinisha, thank you. Yes, thank you, Vinisha. Thank you for message. Prashant, thank you, Prashant. Radhakrishnan, thank you. Akshaya, thank you. Sivapriya, thank you. Lalit Kumar, thank you. Students, any pending doubts means you can send the doubts back because I understand that you are available online. Then I'll address the doubts. Okay. Asha, thank you. Bye. Lalit Kumar, bye. Thank you. Vamshi, thank you. Sivapriya, thank you. Vamshi, Saravanan, copied, no? Thank you, Saravanan. Gunal, thank you. Then other students, those who have doubts alone, you can send your messages. இல்லனா நீங்க இருக்க மாட்டீங்க நான் பாட்டுக்கு தனியா எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணிட்டே இருப்பேன் ஓகே ஆகாஷ் PESB under based on the business Akash what business they are doing under the business it comes under the for example power means under the Ministry of Power so petroleum okay Ministry of Petroleum oil and gas so based on the business what they are doing it will come under the any agricultural equipments comes under Ministry of Agriculture okay that's answer to you Akash. Oh, okay. Not PSB. You asked about the public enterprises. No, okay. Sorry, Akash. Okay, I misunderstood your question. I thought the PSB is okay normally. Okay, the PSUs I gave the answer. PSB means it comes under the Ministry of Personnel and Training. Okay, Ministry of Personnel and Training. Ministry of Personnel and Training. I thought as a PSU. I interpreted and gave the answer. It comes under the Ministry of Personnel and Training. Ashwin. Many PSU company are changing as private company without knowing to general public by central government. Why? Yes, Ashwin, because it is the government's because when you look at the government perspective, it will get justified, because it is the investment what the government, disinvestment what the government is doing, just to balance the requirements in the other sector. Because when you scrutinize, because that's why we got the NIF now, we won't waste the money. Government cannot take the money, so it will be credited, then it will be guarded by the DPAM, then economic affairs will scrutinize, okay, where the money has to be utilized. So when the government sells, it is not like invisible money, it will not go away from the economy. It will be properly maintained, and properly it will be scrutinized, and properly it will be utilized in the economy. Akash, thank you Akash. Ashwin, okay, so I have answered you. Any other doubts pending means students kindly post your doubts. Otherwise, I'll understand that there's no doubt, and then I'll leave the session, okay? Ashwin, thank you. Thank you, Ashwin, thank you. Yes, students, I think I have no other doubts, so I assume that, okay, so shall I leave? Yes, no other messages. Yes, students, I think no other pending messages. Good night. See you all on Wednesday. Thank you, students. I am leaving the group. Thank you. Cut pending appa.